But like when Thanos comes out in Infinity War, he's not going to be wearing his armor. That's lame. I think that's totally lame. So Thanos is going to go conquer the galaxy and take his armor off. Okay. He's got it looks like he just got back from yoga.
Nerderotic.com.
Welcome back to the Nerderotic Podcast. My name is Gary Buechler. I am live in San Francisco, California, and I come to you from Nerderotic.com. And down in San Diego, we have the Ayatollah of Ragnarok and Rolla, Dennis Bithoulkas. What is up, man?
I'm doing better than you are, obviously, at this point, since sick boy.
Yeah, a little under the weather. Had to cancel pretty much every plan I made for this little vacation I'm on. So I just get to make videos. That's all right. Podcast warrior here, or video cat, whatever we're calling it nowadays. I mean, let's face it, YouTube channel's doing the best right now. So rock on. So we both saw Thor Ragnarok yesterday.
Yes, we did.
And there's a gazillion reviews on, and I'm not going to say ours is going to be any different than anybody else's, other than I think we both liked it. Did you like it?
Yeah, I actually think it was the best comic book movie to date. Like, scenes of actual comic. I was looking at it and I was like, holy crap, it's like looking at an actual comic book that's come to life.
I would agree with you. I would absolutely agree with you. And there is criticism out there. A lot of it is superhero fatigue with the people who cover this stuff. I don't know if it's generally in the general population, but what I noticed in my comic store a lot is guys and gals would start to get critical of comic books when it was the reader who was actually getting tired of them, and they would just assume that it's the rest of the readers who are, you know what I mean? It's like when an individual gets burned down on them, I could tell. And it was like the guys who would subscribe to like pretty much every title, and they come in and they drop horrendous amounts of money every week. And they wouldn't pace themselves. And yes, the stories get repetitive. These are stories that are 50 years old. Some are 100 years old, 75 years old, because due to Greek mythology, thousands of years old.
Yep.
And it's a different take on them. And we are very deep into the MCU now. It's 10 years old, and they needed a new take and they needed a new direction. And I think this is the right direction to go. I mean, it's the answer to comics has always been, let's go darker. That's just always been the thing, that let's just take it dark.
Adults, not, yeah.
And just the assumption that going darker is the adult thing to do. Now, we are fans of dark, edgy stuff. That's pretty much entirely what we cover. So I'm not pissing on that at all. I freaking love it. But with superheroes, I just don't think it's great. I mean, it's good to visit that, but I think it's just we visited it way too long. God, I was saying this in 2008 when I owned the store. I was like, I wish they would just go back to fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is exactly what they did. I mean, and actually a lot of people have been asking for this. So for some, I'm very surprised that most people are loving this movie. Okay, but there's a couple guys out there who I was very surprised didn't like it. Like Mundane Matt came away, and that's his, who generally likes everything. Mundane Matt pretty much likes everything. I mean, he likes Superman versus Batman. So he's a big YouTuber, and seems like a good guy. I don't know him or anything like that. And everybody's entitled to their opinion, so it's not a criticism of him. I'm just surprised. Dennis saying he loved this movie was a surprise. I thought Dennis would like it. You're pretty tempered. With you're not like woohoo. Yeah, I love everything.
I have to admit, I actually at the end of this movie, it was the first movie in a long time. I kind of just wanted to go back and watch it again right after seeing it. So, which is kind of rare for a movie nowadays.
Yeah, I agree. This is the first Marvel movie in quite some time where I wanted to run back and watch it again. If I wasn't sick, I would have. But yeah, like even with Guardians, I like Guardians too, but I don't feel the need to run out and see it again. If it's on again, I'll watch it. But Doctor Strange, I didn't feel that much. I'm not the biggest fan of Spider-Man Homecoming in the world, and I haven't even gotten that digitally or anything yet. I haven't bought it.
Yeah, I haven't bought Spider-Man Homecoming either.
Yeah, and I get everything Marvel MCU. And superhero, and it's just that's the one I just haven't felt the need to go out and get yet. I don't know, maybe again, I'm getting older too, so that's understandable. This movie was I mean, a lot of people were calling it a comedy. I don't think it was a comedy. I like how you said it was like a buddy film. It was a comedy in the sense that maybe 48 Hours was the comedy, or Beverly
Yeah,
Hills Cop was a
dramedy,
comedy, you
dramedy.
know, a dramedy, yeah, an actionomedy or whatever, Um, and there were flaws. I mean, there were definitely
Oh
flaws. I
yeah,
mean, we could talk about the green screen was awful. I mean, like,
the green screen in what was it, Norway? The the
yeah,
cliffside scene, that was, oh,
I'm
that
just
was
going to
bad.
echo what everybody else has said. Disney, you've got the money, okay? And Anthony Hopkins, if you want to take a paycheck from Disney, take a little plane flight to Norway. It's a beautiful place, I hear. And, or you know what? There are places in California that look exactly like that.
Yep,
There's places up here that look exactly. Film it up here. You don't have to go to Norway. You don't. You just have to be on a grassy knoll overlooking an ocean, a grassy
yep,
cliff overlooking an ocean. Hella fighting as a digital character. It reminded me of in the second Matrix movie when
yeah.
Smith was fighting
Neo
like
Neo Smiths, yeah.
it looked like a Gumby fighting people.
Actually, when I saw it, I that didn't bother me, to tell you the truth, so much. That one part of it, it looked more like a comic book character. And again, it was a comic book character fighting, and that's what it looked like to me. The rendition of it, so it looked better than the plasticized Neo versus the Smiths.
Well, it
And
looked better than that. It just reminded me. I agree.
yeah,
I agree. And it didn't totally take me down. I mean, like these are two minor criticisms. I heard a lot of people complaining about the action. I didn't have a problem with the action at all. I mean,
ooh,
it wasn't the top-notch action, but I thought it was done pretty well,
no,
actually.
that opening scene, that opening fight scene,
Yeah.
that right there was, I was like, fuck yeah, this is what I'm looking for.
With Thor
You know?
spinning his, I love it when he spins his hammer. That was
Yeah.
just like that's a rad because that's the kind of thing that's why we want comic book movies because honestly I still think comic books are the better medium, but that was like something I love seeing visualized. The one thing they haven't done in all the Spider-Man movies, as much as I love Raimi's Spider-Mans, they have not fully shown his fighting style. They
Yeah.
have not, like, which is supposed to be this acrobatic, like bouncing off the walls fighting style, and they have yet to do that. Like him in a full like melee. Spider-Man like taking on I like in my head like AIM, like 10 guys from AIM or something like that, and just beating the crap out of them and webbing them up on the walls and crap like that. A lot of people were saying jokes weren't landing, and I guess they weren't. I mean, I didn't laugh at everyone, but they didn't crash horribly. Like
Oh,
actually a couple in Guardians did. A couple in Guardians were
yeah,
overplayed,
I
but
didn't think this was actually jokes that were meant to land. I think what it
Mhm.
was, for me, it sounded like jokes that the people that were, the characters that were telling the joke didn't fully understand how they were doing the joke. That's why it didn't. That was what I thought was the joke. They didn't understand how to deliver the joke, so it didn't come off right.
The only other thing I didn't like, the change to Hela, it still keeps it murky whether she's the goddess of death or she's just coming off like saying she's the goddess of death. That was fine. Just her holding Thor's hammer. I had a huge problem with that. I was like, they didn't need to do that. They just didn't need to do that. And I know what they're setting up. Okay. They're setting up the Jane Foster Thor for the movies someday. And we will address that at the end of this podcast. And we've already addressed it once a little bit in our last podcast towards the end of episode 109. Why I don't think that's going to work. But
Well, I did like the fact that they kind of did it where Thor's hammer was not the source of his power. It was the thing that actually focused his power. That
I
the
did like
power,
that.
and basically kind of retconning, I guess you could say, that all Asgardians that are, I guess came from Odin, have a certain power, and that power, is what they're born with. So Hela being the goddess of death, if you will, Thor being the god of thunder, and so on and so forth.
Dennis, what's the box office on this? I know it's a little
I
early.
don't know.
Did 46 million on Friday, heading towards 115 million opening. Is that a little down than they were expecting? It's a little lower than Spider-Man. Spider-Man Homecoming brought in earlier this year in route to 107. It had $117 million debut. So it finishing under Spider-Man's not a disgrace by any stretch of the imagination. Spider-Man's a huge name.
Yep.
But this one had a ton of hype. and a good trailer, and it's it's got a bunch of it's got great word of mouth. The Rotten Tomatoes is high.
Got some good
Yeah,
cameos in it too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Matt Damon,
And also Sam Neill. Sam Neill is
and
Odin
Sam
on it.
Neill is Odin,
Yeah.
and Luke Hemsworth as Thor.
Yes.
Yeah, the thing that stood out the most was we finally got Hulk talking. I've been waiting for that for so long. And Ruffalo, you could see the Hulk. You could see Ruffalo playing the Hulk. Actually, Loki has been panned on this one too. I thought he was good. I mean, you kind of done everything you can with his character, so I think it was pretty. I thought it was played really well.
Yeah, I thought so too. I mean, basically Thor telling him, he goes, dude, you're playing the same card over and over and over again. Aren't you tired of it? Kind of
Yeah,
thing, and do something different. And having him actually step up and do something different.
yeah. Yet he has one more card to play.
Yes.
Which we'll get into later. And there was Valkyrie. Now, Valkyrie, big change of that character. The obvious change in skin tone, which she is a Valkyrie, not the Valkyrie. I think they showed you a quick shot of the Valkyrie when she was dying. And also another gripe: the greatest missed opportunity in cinematic history. When you have a flock of flying Valkyries, you play Flight of the Valkyries. Yeah, I know it's obvious. Some things that are obvious should happen though. Okay. I was like, you're kidding me, right? It's like, how many movies are going to have a bunch of flying Valkyries in it?
You know what?
And it's got,
I'm pretty sure they tried it and they were just like, doesn't fit. It didn't fit the tone. I mean, reusing Immigrant Song for that scene. What I would have done is I would have
used
used.
Immigrant Song twice though. See, you don't
Yeah,
ever
that's what
do that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure that was a last minute addition. They probably put in Flight of the Valkyries and it just didn't play out right. And I was thinking about it, with the flashback and everything. I don't know if it would work.
I absolutely know it would work. All you would have to do is stay on that flashback a tad longer. It's because they cut the flashback short. You could tell. And Valkyrie she was good. I thought she was pretty funny. Tessa Thompson did a great job.
Yeah, especially, that she was going to drink and she was going to be drunk most of the time. And I was kind of digging that. It wasn't bad.
No, it could have been cringy. Like her character could have been totally cringy, and it wasn't. So I'm glad that. And Kate Blanchett was not in it as much as, and I know a lot of people have been saying that. I was expecting her to be in it a little more than she was, but they totally set up. I think she's coming back. I'm pretty sure she's going to be with Thanos in the Infinity War. That she's going to be Death and who he is courting. Dennis, what were some of your favorite moments of Thor Ragnarok?
The gladiatorial combat, when we have the Grand Master standing there, basically his 3D form is inside the arena. And the first thing I thought of was like, the way they did the pixelation. I'm like, he thought of old-fashioned comic books, and that's what he put in. And it looked like a page from a comic. Zipatone. There we go.
Zipatone.
Yes. And I was like, wow, he actually did a really great job there. And it looked like a big splash page from a comic.
It did. The colors in this thing were amazing. The action was amazing. The acting was pretty spot on. There wasn't anything there wasn't anything bad. The green screen was the only thing that sat out as bad in this movie.
Yeah. I'm going to say right now, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I still think Thor Ragnarok is going to do better opening weekend than Justice League will. I think it'll be above Justice League on that list. Slightly, just slightly. I know it's 3 weeks out.
I don't know about that. Yeah, that's possibility. It had $180 million production budget. It has done gangbusters foreign right now. It's at 164 foreign. So this movie's already at 211 million worldwide. That is pretty spectacular. So you tack on another 50 on that, it'll be almost at 300 million. I don't think I don't think worldwide it's going to hit $1 billion. I think it'll peter out, which is too bad because I'm actually going to watch this movie again. I'm actually
I am too.
into it. And okay, let's compare it to Dark World, which only did 206 million in the United States. It did 31 million Friday, 32 million Saturday, 21 million Sunday. So this is tracking better than Dark World. And it did, Thor Ragnarok did have a bad previous movie leading into it. And
Yeah.
some people just don't like Thor. I mean, I love Thor. I love him as a character, always have, but some people just don't like him. That's fine.
I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't go with the obvious promotional tie-in. It's Thor's Day.
I know, right? Oh my God, another missed opportunity. And just the Kirby moments in it. There's so much Kirby love. But Dennis, were you very happy to see, probably for the first time on screen, a good representation of the Kirby crackle when Hela comes out? That was my favorite scene.
I wanted a little bit more of that. It was just too small, and they didn't focus on it.
I think they're going to do that with Thanos too, but that was just badass. I've been waiting for Kirby crackle in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and thank you for doing it finally. And thank you for a fun movie. It was a good, fun movie. I took my family. Everybody enjoyed it. I think the guy I went with, Tim, he comes with me, my friend Tim Dyer. He comes with me to every one of these superhero movies. Actually, he lines up. He's such a cool guy. He lines up the tickets for us and everything. And we got the comfy seats with the assigned seating, and we're in our little Barca loungers. And I don't think he didn't like it as much as I did, but he was really ticked about the green screen. And I think that's a lot of people, and Disney and Marvel, shame on you. You guys have the money to do that. Don't do that. Just don't. And when you watch that on 4K TV, it's going to look worse.
Yep. Speaking of Easter eggs, we were talking about that in our very long pre-production meeting. The building that the Grand Master is in with the champions' heads that they have on the outside there.
Yep.
So I was trying to figure out who the champions were. I saw one, Beta Ray Bill.
Yep.
Some of the building Easter eggs, Beta Ray Bill, which we already talked about. The guy with the helmet was actually the Greek god Ares. Remember, he actually did fight. He's one in the comics as well. Man Thing was also up there. And then a very old Hulk villain, By Beast.
Okay, Man Thing was on there? I did not see Man Thing. How did I miss Man Thing?
He's in the shadow on the very bottom. Yeah.
I missed the Man Thing. That's the next area they need to go to in the Marvel universe. I mean, they need to go to the supernatural area. That's the part I like the most. Son of Satan, Ghost Rider, Brother Voodoo, Doctor Strange, of course, Man Thing, Werewolf by Night. That's the crap I loved. That was the stuff I loved the most as a kid. The Supernaturals. Remember they tried that comic in the 90s? I love that comic book, dude. Oh my God. And each comic came with a mask. You got a mask of like Ghost Rider and Brother Voodoo, and it's just really cool. Really freaking cool. Yeah, no, it was a fun movie. It was a fun movie. And we got a bunch of Marvel superheroes. And dude, that Doctor Strange scene where they walked in and he's like floating in the sanctum. Uh-huh. We didn't even get that in the Doctor Strange movie.
I know.
Like that one, like that's your money shot for the Doctor Strange movie, and it's in a Thor movie. Come on, guys.
I like that we even got a mention of Throg.
Yes. I'm kind of bummed that they pissed away all the Planet Hulk stuff on this. I mean, it was still well done, but I think I would have not called it Sakaar. I would have called it something else, or maybe he can double back to there, because I just think that's too good of a story to not try to do. And you know what, Marvel and tons of superhero movies are guilty of dancing around stuff because they don't want to do it. They might want to do it later. And that's the one they just trampled on. And I'm like, why? I mean, if you're going to make a Hulk trilogy someday, which you will, Disney, you will make that is what you make. I can't think of, that's the Phoenix saga of the Hulk storyline. That is, the Elektra saga of the Hulk storyline. Other than some of the McFarlane, Peter David stuff from back in the late 80s, which was, Mr. Fix-It and stuff, that was great shit. But Planet Hulk is like the definitive Hulk story. Okay. There's stuff I've ever read. So there's still a ton of the Marvel universe to do. And Korg, right? Korg.
Yeah.
Do you notice that when he said, I'm just a thing, that was like the first words he said?
Yes.
Because we're all thinking of the Thing. And you're just like, Korg was a better thing than Fan Four Sticks thing with no pants.
I was thinking about what my favorite funny scene was in this movie, and it was when Thor is strapped to the chair and he's going through what Sakaar is, being introduced to it, and they're playing the Willy Wonka theme song, Pure Imagination.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, that's exactly what that was.
Listen, I couldn't. When I kind of recognize that song, and I just
Yeah.
don't know. So yeah, they could put that in, but they can't put in "Flight of the Valkyries." Please.
No, well, they just did.
Please.
Yeah, I
Please.
know. I'm pretty sure he did at one point, because I'm telling you, that's the reason why they used the immigrant song twice. Is that was a last minute change? Something happened, and yeah. So, but when he's going through and he's, they're telling what Sakaar is, and he finally screams, Thor is and he's right in front of the Grandmaster.
Yeah, no, that was good. That was good. This Hela holding the hammer. That was the only thing that really tried. The green screen did not bother me as much as that did. It's like it wasn't necessary. She's already badass, and they just made her this omnipotent being. That I mean, she's not dead. I did like how instead of like in the comics by making in the comics when Thor lost his hammer to Jane Foster and everything, he became the unworthy Thor and got depowered and I think what they did in the movie was direct opposite of that, and I think it was, while not being a shout out to the fans, it was, hey, comic books, this is how you could have done it. And him losing the hammer, and it was just like Iron Man 3. It wasn't about the suit, Tony. It was about you. You're the hero, and that's and then we also amped up Thor's powers quite a bit, and we amped up a lot of people's powers quite a bit because they got to be taking on a god right now, or a Titan, the Mad Titan.
I mean, come on, Hulk punching, when he's getting dragged along the bottom of the ocean there by Fenris, and he finally just hits him. He punches him once, and you see the Fenris's head snap back out of the water. That was, a little bit overpowering of the Hulk on that one, because Fenris is basically he is Ragnarok. When Fenris shows up, he is supposed to eat the world. That's what his job is.
No, that's cool though. I mean, he punched him, but like he would probably eventually eat the Hulk. But the Hulk, this is like the one time where he wasn't the strongest thing there. You know what I mean? Like he even took on Surtur and got, he went and jumped and big monster, and they're like, no, for once, just don't go.
Do anything. Yeah.
Big monster. Dude, oh my God. Seeing Hulk talk was, I honestly never thought I'd see it. I was my biggest disappointment with all the Hulk movies was just like, just the rumbling dumb Hulk. I like the talking Hulk. I like it when he gets smarter. I think some of the Peter David stuff when he is merged completely with Banner.
Yep.
That is, and I hope they do that with Infinity War, because that's really good stuff. And Mark Ruffalo can do that, and he was great as the Hulk.
I'm thinking that's what the whole thing was, where Banner is saying, you don't understand. If I turn into the Hulk, I might disappear.
Yeah.
And the whole thing, I mean, you saw it coming when he jumps out of the ship.
Oh, I know. When he just lands on the bridge.
He just kind of lands. He kind of bounces for a second and just kind of just lays there. And
he looked dead. Because he would have been dead. But then, he hulks up. And it was good for a gag, but honestly, he's supposed to hulk up right before he hits the bridge. Again, that was done for a joke. And also Thor losing his eye. I mean, what's the point of that?
It's to bring the whole thing around of the son becomes the father. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And it's been done in the comics too, where he's lost the eye. And
my son really didn't like that scene. He's like, why did they do that? That was dumb. They tricked us. He's all, that wasn't in the trailer.
I did like Kate Blanchett's, oh, now you look like father. Now you remind me of father. There's the way she did it.
I don't know. Like I did like the message of a lot of shit is built really ugly, but I mean that's part of having a society. That's how societies get built. I mean, unfortunately, that's how it's freaking done until we can find a better way. So I thought that was interesting that the gods mirror the humans, but Odin did try to change and she was murderous and wanting to conquer. She was a really good bad guy, and there was and the Grandmaster was a good bad guy. And I think Marvel's kind of turned the corner with their villains a little bit. I still think the Kingpin is the best villain, and the Purple Man. The Purple Man and Kingpin are the two best Marvel villains. But Cate Blanchett, see, I love Cate Blanchett.
Oh, I do too.
I just do. And she was amazing as hell, and the whole look was perfect. So I really had no problem with this movie. I'll get whatever bitches I have. That was nothing to take away my enjoyment.
You know who we keep forgetting? Carl Urban as Scourge.
A Scourge, yeah.
He did such a good job. Actually,
he did okay. I mean, I loved how he had the what is it? The like kind of the grungy Londoner accent, you know. And I'm just a janitor, you know, and he had a good little turnaround, and he died, unfortunately, which is too bad, but
he can always be brought back.
Well, remember, Carl Urban was strongly rumored to play Thor.
Yes,
before the movies come out, because when you give him long blonde hair, he looks like freaking Thor, and it's good to see him in a Thor movie. You've all seen him in Lord of the Rings. So, final words on Thor Ragnarok, Dennis.
Go see it. Go see it a couple times. It's good. It's actually very good. It's one of those rare movies where you'll have some fun. You know, one of those rare comic book movies you'll have some fun with.
Yeah, if this is the change of pace that everybody's been asking for, and if it wasn't your cup of tea, then maybe you're over comic book movies, and that's okay. I used to have to tell that to my comic book customers, which sucked. I'll never forget. Remember Trenchcoat Guy?
Oh yeah.
Dante, Matt, we know you watch once in a while. We love you. I'll never forget the day he came to my store, and he's a huge Spider-Man fan, and he looked exasperated. I'm like, Matt, what's the matter, man? And he's all, these stories never end. And it never hit him. It never ever hit him that there will never be resolution in comics ever, because the story never ends.
Yep.
And he kind of saw that he'd been wasting his time, because I guess he thought that they would just get somewhere. And I know he was really pissed, and a lot of people were like, One More Day really screwed the Quesada era, because if that didn't happen, he would be lauded as one of the greatest editors in Marvel history, but he did One More Day, and he shot for the stars and overshot, man. He was absolutely done after that, and I don't blame him. I mean, he still reads once in a while, but he wasn't in it for the long haul anymore. You could tell when everybody starts getting sick of stuff, but I mean, these movies aren't made for us comic book fans anymore. They have passed us by. They used us and threw us away. They got what they wanted out of us. They got us doing podcasts now, and they threw us some bones. But like when Thanos comes out in Infinity War, he's not going to be wearing his armor. That's lame. I think that's totally lame. So Thanos is going to go conquer the galaxy and take his armor off. Okay. He's got it looks like he just got back from yoga. You know what I mean?
Like put him in a bathrobe and some slippers.
Yeah, like why the hell? Like what the hell? It's Hugh Thanos.
They give him a dad belly too, so you can come out.
They did. They give him a little dad bod. He's got his little slippers.
I'm gonna come out, and this is what I'm gonna do with the Infinity Gauntlet. I'm gonna stuff it up your butt. But first, I'll have a cup of coffee.
I'm gonna have a cup of coffee. And hey, will you turn the lights off when you leave the ship? Okay.
Who keeps the thermostat up?
Nebula, turn that music down.
You kids, get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's Thanos. That's Thanos. All right, man. Well, we're gonna end this one, but we will be back doing a little reaction video. We got a little plug in an article, thanks to our buddy Dennis here, over our favorite TV show. So that is next.
You have been listening to a Nerdrotic podcast.